Thank you, Darren. There has been a net increase in social housing under my tenure of, I think, about 12,000. Whereas the previous mayoralty, I might point out to you, saw a net decline in the total of social housing of about 15,000 units. And I remind you that we are continuing with a programme of record home building. We've done 17,914 affordable homes last year, 2014-15, the highest annual output since records began in 1991, and the target of 100,000 affordable homes over 2 terms is, I'm confident, going to be delivered, and I would contrast it with merely 86,000 that were delivered in the previous 2 terms of the Labour mayoralty.
Are you happy that 12.5, 13,000 homes, is that social homes? Are you really happy with that over your tenure as mayor?
Well, we've built huge numbers of affordable homes. I've given you the figure.
Yeah, I think the net figure is revealing.
Yes, and the reason people will... The net figure is important, and you're absolutely right to draw attention to it. And what it reflects is that, in many cases, the construction of new affordable housing will take place in the course of estate regeneration. So what goes on is that an estate will come down, new homes are built, some of them will be for market sale, some for market rent, some for affordable, and so on. And the ambition is always to increase the stock of affordable, and there has been an increase of 12,000. If you ask me, do I want to see more homes in London and more affordable homes, of course I do. Of course I do.
But is it perhaps time to rethink the approach to estate regeneration? You're part funding the Aylesbury estate, for example, where you talked about building over 3,500 new homes. But once you demolish all those council homes, there'll actually be a net loss of 934 low-rent homes, whether that's affordable rent or social rent. Is it actually time to rethink some of the estate regeneration plans if we end up after each of them with less low rent homes than we started off with?
Well, I think we're talking about social housing. I think is what the question was about, and we have had a net increase in social housing. When estate regeneration goes ahead, I think most people would want to see mixtures of tenure in these regenerated estates. That they wouldn't want to be going back to any kind of monoculture of social rented accommodation. I don't think that would be the right way forward for those neighbourhoods. I don't think many people, even in the Labour Party, would support that. Or obviously, we have to see how the Labour Party develops. But that, when they were sensible, they didn't support that. I think the ambition has got to be to build more homes and more affordable homes. And when you're doing a big regeneration, like at the Aylesbury or wherever, or Woodbury Down, these huge projects, they, to the best of my knowledge, and they do end up. We almost always end up with the net affordable quotient higher than it was before. There might be a change in the mix. So there's more part-by-part rent as opposed to social rent. But I'm not certain that is everywhere and always a bad thing. I think that actually giving Londoners the chance to buy a share of their property, get some equity in their home is a very good thing. It's overwhelmingly what people want. They have the chance.
But we have got a problem though, haven't we? If we, you trumpet that you build these new social homes, and 43,000 is the figure that you publicise. But once you take account of the net figure and take account of the actual loss through the right to buy and the loss through the estate demolitions, you end up going down from 43,000 to 13,500. That is a serious, serious issue, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I just repeat the points I made earlier. There's been a net gain of. I think you're being, optimistic. I think the figure's more like 12,000 rather than 30,000.
Well, the answer you gave me back in March was 13,500.
Well,
this is your written response to me from March.
It's of that order. And I just remind you that in the previous 8 years there was a net loss of 15,000 homes, and I don't remember, Darren, you making much of a fuss about that.
Well, you weren't here, so you wouldn't have heard me making a fuss about anything. I made a fuss about it a lot of the time.
I was following your doings and sayings intently.
Wait, check the transcripts and you see me criticising the previous mayor over the
well, then in that case, you should applaud this administration for reversing the trend of the previous mayor and actually having a net gain in social homes rather than a net loss. That seems to me to be what you should now be saying.
But it's a very small net gain given the scale of the problem, and I think you need to rethink both your support for automatic support for the right to buy, and particularly the extension of that. I think you need to rethink that, and I think you need to rethink your whole approach to estate regeneration schemes that end up with less social housing than they started out with.
I think that most, just to get back to my point, I think that most sensible people would not welcome a plan that simply tore down estates and replaced them all with exactly the same monocultural tendencies as before. I don't think that would be the right way forward. I don't think anybody in the Labour Party who's sensible supports that. Maybe that is the Green position, but I don't think that is the right way forward.